The start of the year is always a great time to look forward to what the sporting year ahead might hold. That's exactly what Sport for Business did this morning when we hosted the first of our major gatherings for the Sport for Business community. We were joined by over 120 organisations, all of whom were keen to find out what trends are going to be playing out and what are the key events that are going to be making a difference across the sporting, sponsorship, marketing and business framework for 2022. We had a great lineup of speakers. We were joined by Peter McKenna, the Stadium Director of Croke Park and Commercial Director of the GAA, who shared with us his optimism based on conversations taking place around government buildings that the gates would soon reopen, that it might be a phased reopening, but that we would very quickly be back to a full stadium capacity. It was great to hear that, and also great to chat to Peter about some of the things that took place over the last couple of years that have made the sporting clubs that are part of the association and indeed other sports so much stronger. We were then joined from Innsbruck by Dr. Elsa Desmond. The name might not be familiar, but she is Ireland's international luger, and she will be competing under the green, white and gold in the Beijing Olympics, the Winter Olympics taking place across February. Elsa was a very engaging character, and she shared with us the story of how she came to compete for Ireland, what it was that got her into luge in the first place, and what it was like to hurtle down a mountain at such enormous speeds on what is just a very, very flimsy piece of equipment.
Great Britain. At the time when I started sliding, Ireland didn't have a luge federation, didn't really have any precedent in the sport. So it seems a logical thing to be racing for Great Britain. They had a federation, they had a team, and they were able to support me in the early part of my career. But we always knew that racing for Ireland would be an option if I ever wanted to take it or when I wanted to take it. And then Great Britain had a change of coaching staff a few years ago, and it just didn't click with me, the new structure and the new coaching staff. So I made the decision then to move across to the Irish team, and we founded the Irish Luge Federation, and I've been racing for them ever since.
Our third guest speaker of the morning was Declan McBennett, the head of sport in RTE and the man responsible more than anybody for bringing the sport from around the world into our screens and into our homes. Declan was able to talk about the new shared vision of carriage of the Guinness Six Nations between RTE and Virgin Media. That's going to kick off with the Wales against Ireland weekend of activity with the under-20s in action down in Cork, and then the senior men on RTE on Saturday, the 5th of February. It'll then switch to Virgin Media for the rest of the coverage and come back to RTE for the game against England in Twickenham. It'll be the same over the Women's Six Nations when that takes place across March and April. And it's great to be able to show so much, great rugby on free-to-air television. He was very keen to stress the fact of the visibility and the importance for the health of the sport in general by being seen by as many people as possible. And we also had time to chat about 2021, the year of women in sport, without a shadow of a doubt, and about how we can maintain the momentum. He spoke about the fact that this needs to become, a movement rather than just a campaign. And very eloquently put as well. We didn't just focus on the big sports. There was plenty of talk about the European Championships as well. And of course, the Euros 2021 being held in 2022 in England for the women's football, and the men's football taking place in Qatar. The next session that we went into was a really strong piece with the team from Teneo, Ireland, led by Kelli O'Keeffe, Caroline Kelly, Rob Pearson and Peter Sweeney, and they shared with us some of the insight from the Teneo Sports Sponsorship Sentiment Index, which was conducted in December across 1,000 people. Some really fascinating stuff there, and you can see it on the screen now. We looked at tech, we looked at the engagement of sport, why people get involved in physical activity, and we'll be able to share those slides with anybody who wants to contact me, rob@sportforbusiness.com. We finished off the session by chatting to Ciara from Titan Experience about the new National Fit Games that are coming to Dublin, UCD, between the 22nd and the 24th of April. It promises to be a lot of fun. It promises to be competitive functional fitness. And if you don't know quite what that is, well, then you'd probably need to get to the gym. Sport for Business are going to be hosting a lounge at the corporate event, which takes place on the Friday evening out in UCD. And we're really looking forward to that. The final session was closing the show with a look to the future. And we spoke with Stuart Dempsey of Legion eSports about the tremendous change which is taking place across eSport, what it is, what it can be, and what it can deliver for Ireland. Really interesting conversation. And I'm delighted that Sport for Business is giving more and more coverage towards esports, because it is definitely an area of real and positive future influence. Our next event is going to be the Sport for Social Good Conference in partnership with Allianz on Thursday, February the 24th. And we'll also be having a special gathering of individuals in person. So there's something very much to look forward to there. We also spoke about some of our other events, the Sport for Business Super Quiz, which will be back in May, the Sport for Business 30 Under 30 in partnership with PwC that will be coming on stream, and looking for nominations of that in the next couple of weeks. The Women of Influence list entering into its 10th year with us in partnership with AIG, and plenty more besides. You can keep up to date with everything we do in our AM and PM bulletins, sportforbusiness.com. You can sign up for free for that, and we'd love to welcome you on board as members so that we can tell your story the best way that we can to an audience that is very, very, very willing to listen. Great morning. Thanks very much for taking the time to be with us.